Hello, hi, welcome. Beautiful Love Your Life show, friends. Today, I am really excited to introduce you to Wendy Groves, and we're going to be speaking about breathing with the rhythm of life. If you are here and you're in the room with us live, please say hi. Come on, let's enjoy each other and have fun here. Also, feel free to ask any questions while we're going through the show. You can ask questions of Wendy, or if you'd like to share any experiences that you're having. So if we do some sort of breathing thing and you're like, oh my God, that has just opened up my entire universe, please share with us. We want to, have some fun with you. And I'm going to put my phone on silent just in case. So if you have a phone, right now is a good time to put it on silent. No distractions. You know what? We live in a world of distractivitis. And I think we all need to get over it. Don't you think so, Wendy?
Absolutely.
Yes. So welcome, Wendy. Welcome to the show. Wow.
Thank you. Oh, it's so good to meet you.
We're finally here, and it's been a bit of a back and forth with Wendy and myself. Like, okay, this is happening. Oh my God, and life is going on. And Wendy just had her son you said he broke his arm?
He did, yes. Skiing test.
So he broke his arm today, and so she's been dealing with that today. And then she still comes and shows up for all of us here on the Love Your Life show. So that just shows you, right? Very
yes,
cool.
Just goes to show you how amazing breathing is.
Yeah, she's been breathing all day. So without further ado, I'm just going to introduce you to exactly who Wendy Groves is. She's a breath worker, a registered nurse, and a certified life transform coach. She is an incredibly intuitive soul who is here to inspire, encourage, and motivate the world to the presence of unconditional, infinite love. Wendy has transformed her own life from being worn out, clinically depressed, now that's hectic, right? And striving to meet the expectations of the world to being connected to the powerful force of love she is. And living a life full of abundance. And I know that anyone who's watching this show is wanting exactly that, or is at least, no, not even at least, is definitely on the pathway to that, because you wouldn't be watching this if you weren't, right? She embraces such experiences life brings with open arms, like she did with her son breaking his arm today, and knows that everything is love in action. Her organization, Embodied Love, was formed with her beloved partner, Jason. Their business was born out of an eagerness to connect with and support individuals of all walks of life and all belief systems. Their mission is to inspire and assist people in remembering their wholeness and perfection. Yes, we are all whole and complete. And so together, we can actually all unite to be the change we wish to see in the world. So welcome, Wendy. There we go.
Thank you.
Yay, and we have Jason. There we go. Jason's on the line. Thank you, Jason, for joining us. Have we got any more friends in the chat who want to say hi? Please, I see there are a few of you there. Please don't be shy. We love to have you joining us. Okay, amazing. So,
absolutely.
So, Wendy, breathing with the rhythm of life. Tell us more. What is it? You've been working with breath for a while now, and obviously you're a life transform coach. Tell us a little bit about your journey with the breath and how you actually assist people with connecting to their breath. I know that you were talking about some of the relationship stuff that you're working with your partner. Tell us a little bit more about how the breath integrates all of this.
Absolutely. Thank you. I love this question because it really just allows me to be able to speak so passionately about how it is I love. And, first and foremost, like, of course, we're all always breathing as long as we're here, right? And I, as you mentioned before, Beverley, I've also been a registered 15 years. And, through all of the challenges life, as you mentioned, a lot of overwhelm, anxiety in my life, I never really thought that much about my breath. Just like a lot of people don't think about blinking their eyes, a lot of us don't, because it is the only system in our body that's both and control. Fast forward to when I joined the Life Transformed Coaching Program, and we were in Costa Rica in February of 2015, and it really was the biggest turning point of my life. And not only getting to be with this amazing group of coaches, but to be in person with Rika and the people who were on her team during that time, and them back who a lot of you are very with. And I had never done breath work before, and I just jumped. I think we did breath work a few times, and I felt the healing automatically. It didn't all feel good, but it also, even in the craziness and everything that was unfolding, I knew that I was getting to who I really was. Like, I started seeing this light. I started seeing, this I had been searching for so long. And so, over the last few years, as I just have continued on my own personal journey, and then eventually creating Embodied Love to be able to reach out and guide other people back to their breath as well, I have just, I'm on wonder really how simple it is, this amazing tool that we have. It's free. We can use it wherever we go, and I talk to people all the time, and they're like, oh, well, yeah, I do breathing at your, I do breathing in this class, and that's beautiful. Like, I mean, absolutely amazing. I love those modalities and things as well. And yet, Beverly, most of the people that I ask, I say, okay, that's awesome. Can I ask you another question? How often do you breathe in when you're in class? And after you've left the breathwork retreat, they say, oh, yeah, I guess now. They think I'm going to say, oh, you should. I'm like, no, this is actually what I'm doing. So bring this into our everyday life. We can really begin to recognize the signals that the universe, our thoughts, and our body, which are always perfectly in tune, perfectly in sync. And if we just train ourselves to listen and to let those things trigger us, and there's, it can be very simple, yet the most powerful.
I love that, Wendy. And so I just want to share with anyone who might be watching right now. There is a bit of interference on the video side. I'm sure I can hear Wendy pretty well. I'm not sure how the video is playing out. I'm also not sure on my side how it's playing out. It's obviously, this is the beautiful thing about technology is I've been breathing through all the technology lines as you've been speaking, Wendy. So, we can work with what we've got with our technology at the moment. So I'm praying that every single one of you can hear all the magic that Wendy is, all the magical information that Wendy is bringing forward right now, because I agree with you, Wendy. Like, the breath thing is so key, because it's the thing that is with us all the time. Like, it's more intimate than any other relationship we have with anything. And, I've heard it sometimes told that depending on how deeply you breathe, actually reflects back the amount of abundance and things that happen in your life, and opportunities and possibilities that are there in your life. So the way that you breathe is kind of like a reflection of what shows up in your life experience. It even goes to that degree. What do you say about that?
Oh, I agree with you like 150%. In fact, one of the things I say just about everywhere I go is how you breathe is how you live. And the breath will always show us. And so when, so many of us, when you start paying attention, realize how much you hold your breath. Realize, how shallow you're breathing. Realize how much you're really not taking these big, deep breaths, because we're actually bracing ourselves because of the fear in our life, or the overwhelm, the stress, the grief, all of these different things. And so we can actually use the breath as this guide, as this signal in all of these different areas, and even purely just from a physical standpoint of view, Beverly. And this, excites me because I have been a nurse for so long, and so I love the medical side of it as well. I mean, and I believed for years, and not just believed, like I've known, our bodies are always working for us, never against us. And so when we think about how our bodies were designed to work, and that our lungs were designed to excrete 70% of the toxins from our body. 70%. And
that's insane.
Yet,
Did you just say 70? Was that, sorry, I'm just 70%.
70% of the toxins from our body. Our lungs healthy. 70. Yes.
What? I cannot. Do you know?
Yes.
Can I share with you something really, really interesting? So I know that I'm going a bit off topic here, but this is just like completely landed right now. So we've obviously, my husband and myself have moved from Hawaii to LA. Yay! Okay, so I'm very excited about it because there's a lot of possibilities. Blah 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 blah. Okay, great. We moved into the middle of LA. Now I love people and all of that, but I could immediately, because I'm so sensitive, I could immediately feel that there was something up. Energetically, the air, I could literally, my body was like, what the heck? Where am I? And it was this feeling of, I've got to get out. Like, I've got to get out. I've got to get out of here. Because it was like my body just knew that the air that I was breathing was incredibly toxic. I could feel it. And so obviously I was putting up like, I can, my energy can clear the energy, and I can clear the energy, and like putting all those things in there. Yet I did actually get seriously ill. I had bad sinusitis and a lung infection. And Mason, my husband, got the same thing. And the girls who were staying with said that they also have had that happen. And so it's interesting that you say that, because if you're breathing in the toxins and you're needing to breathe out 70%, your body is just like literally kind of breathing in and breathing out toxins, right?
Yes, absolutely. And in the fascinating part, like you were just talking about with the exhale, because, of course, when we're breathing out the toxins, that is during our exhale. And even for a lot of the people, Beverly, who take a good inhale, most people take a very puny, a very weak exhale. Mm. And, when our exhales really should, be twice as long as our inhales on, just a day in and day out basis. It is different for exercise and, some different focusing things. But just for our regular breath, because also in here, this is a really great time to tell, those of you who don't know, our exhale is what stimulates our parasympathetic nervous system. And so, we've got sympathetic, which is fight or flight. That's when, you think of your house is on fire. Your heart starts beating super fast. You breathe really shallow because we have to think quick and act quick. And, I think I read somewhere that 60% of people are in a state of fight or flight during all of their waking hours, day in and day out, because of the amount of stress and overwhelm, and everything that we mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So parasympathetic is our rest and digest, and this is what calms us. This is when our body really gets to relax. So this exhale, these beautiful long exhales, when we practice doing them more a part of our everyday breathing, we are really taking advantage of this beautiful organ we have to rid our body of these toxins that are ravaging our body. Of course, that could be just a whole different talk, right? And we're more relaxed, and the breath creates the space inside of us. And then, we can respond to situations that are happening in our lives instead of reacting because, we're in that state of fight or flight, and we're like that fly in a little tiny box that keeps bouncing to the sides. So, yeah.
Wow, that is really, really interesting that you say that. And, I think next time when I go shopping with Mason, I'm going to say, he says he's overwhelmed, I'm going to say, my love, take a deep breath. We go. It's not so bad when we're shopping. You can just breathe.
Right? I mean, and it's fascinating because I love that you brought up the store, Because even if you're walking through the store and even if you're calm, okay, yes, because first and foremost, we do this for ourselves. And, you know, I know you, me, millions of amazing people, and I'm sure all of the people here listening live or to the recording, it's like we also like to serve other people because we love and we're compassionate. And so try this next time. Even if you feel calm in the grocery store or a bank or anywhere, but you see, you know, a parent and child having a hard time, or you see somebody upset about something, really intentionally take those big, deep breaths, those nice full exhales, and watch what happens. And it is, and I watch it over and over and over again. They don't even know what you're doing if you don't say anything to them. But the energy of what happens when we calm our nervous systems, the people who are in close proximity to us, something begins to happen with them as well. So I love that too, that yes, of course, you know, through Embodied Love in radio shows like this and different things that we're doing, we talk. And because that's how we express so much. And yet some of my favorite time with my clients is when we sit and we just breathe together. And we, you know, it links our nervous systems, it links our hearts together. And you can say so much through breathing together without having to say any words at all.
It's very true. I think what you say, you've just completely, it's like hitting the nail, the nail on the head. Is that
hitting the nail on the head? You got it.
That's the word. Yes. Like just really being able to breathe. And also I think like there's that thing about rapport when if you put your body, like if someone's folding your arms and you fold your arms, then they feel rapport with you kind of thing. But then if you're also breathing, you take a deep breath, they unconsciously can see you breathing, and then they're going to naturally want to take a deep breath themselves because they're noticing that, you know, they're kind of, the unconscious self goes breathe. It's like, oh, that person's breathing. Oh, wow, okay, I can breathe. Not conscious, totally unconscious, you know? And then that also allows other people. And that also gives a nice idea. You know when people say, oh, I'm holding space. It's like breathing without judgment of whatever shows up in the moment with anyone. So that's allowing their parasympathetic nervous system to kick in.
To totally kick in. And I love too that you just brought up, you know, the word judgment. Because this is I love talking about this piece of the breath because, you know, myself, like so many people, I mean, I was raised, you know, I was raised in Christianity. You know, my older kids were raised there. I mean, it's a beautiful chapter of my life. I mean, you know, that's not a place where we're at now. And a lot of it was because even though I had a great experience, Beverley, there in all of the years that I was a part of the church, but I couldn't come to terms with that we couldn't and believe the differences that, you know, because I knew in my heart. And so, you know, I know this is something that so many of us, you know, this internal fight with as growing up, as we're becoming adults. And it took me a long time, but so beautifully, breath has shown me that no matter how old you are, what gender you are, you know, what your sexual orientation is, what your political preference is, what you believe or don't believe, whatever it is, anybody believes about breath. Even if it's just that it's what we do to stay alive. But when you start looking at all these different cultures, and I love visiting with people, and hearing about, you know, their life, their beliefs, their culture, and the breath always brings us together. It's like this beautiful music that just weaves people together. So during this time that we're living in, yes, there are a lot of people coming together, but of course we see it every day in the news and, you know, all over the place about all of the duality, all of the separation, everybody trying to prove points. And I'm like, oh, it's beautiful because from my space, which is the only place I get to ever be. It's like, oh, the breath is actually, and I see it, and I know it's going to continue to happen. It's going to continue to bring people together. I've been in groups already where people of different sexual orientation, and you had somebody who maybe wasn't real comfortable with that, and then you bring in some breath, and it's not even on purpose. It's like subconsciously, and all of a sudden these people are embracing each other, like, I mean, physically hugging and holding each other where they wouldn't have thought about doing that, previously. And they do it because this breath is this powerful life force. It's like this golden key. My guidance showed me a few months back. It's like this golden key, and it just goes through, and it unlocks the doors that are ready to be unlocked, and it opens them up. And you don't even have to know how that all works. You don't have to put all this thought into it. You don't have to guide and direct your breath where to go. All you have to do is choose to breathe intentionally.
I absolutely love that. And it's so nice to, because I mean, if anyone is watching right now, if we just take a big deep breath right here, right now, and I know we did this before we started the show. If we just take a deep breath.
Yeah, and I encourage you as you're breathing, like, let your exhale, like, make some noise. I mean, sure, if you're other people and you can't, it's okay. But, like, take this breath and, yeah, and feel that vibration that goes through your body when you're able to make that noise on your exhale, and how your body just, it's like it dissolves, it melts, it comes into the breath.
It's so amazing, and you were speaking about sometimes when we get caught up into like what the news is saying, or we've got all this trauma and this drama happening on a consistent basis all around us. Do you know that I saw a video the other day where they've actually done a study on how this level of safety over the last 50 years or something like that. They've checked out the level of safety of how safe are we really, in the world. And across the board, worldwide, we are the safest that we've ever been now than in history. In all of history, we are at the safest. If you want to talk about safety, we're at the safest we've ever been in history. And that is based on a factual study, not just what, the raw media is telling us to get our, reptilian brain excitable and get us addicted to the chemical hormones that are in our brains. It's literally, that's literally what's going on right now. That's the truth.
Yeah, it is. It is completely fascinating because, of course, we have so much compassion for people who are being affected, and I'm so proud of people who are stepping forward to speak up in other areas, and so of course it's like I'm grateful that we are able to be in this time, and that we're able to choose the perception that we have, and I certainly don't say that with any judgment of anybody who is feeling very scared or fearful, because and I know you too, Beverley. It's like we're both very passionate about meeting each person exactly where you are. So in anything that we say today, don't feel like, oh well, I wish I could be there, because if I was there, then it would be better. The only beautiful way that you're going to get there is by first surrendering and accepting where you are in this moment.
You spot on.
Yes, and once again, the breath will show you that, and this is also something that it's very I believe, integral to talk about when we're talking about the breath, because, and it is even, I think, in the title of the show, is the piece about, surrender and creation. Because when we are working with our breath, even people who intentionally do work with the breath, most of us are like, okay, well, I'm going to breathe a certain way. Like, okay, I'm going to let this sound out on the exhale, or I'm going to do it to a certain count, or I'm going to do holotropic breath work, or, all of these different modalities, which are all beautiful. And that's like the creating part of the breath. It's like we're breathing the breath, and we're coming in to do it. The other side of this, which is, a space I love, and we set the oars aside because it's not time for us to row, right? And we all know how this feels in life. We're tired, we're overwhelmed, we're stressed, and that can be because it's been an amazing day or because it's been a really difficult day. It doesn't matter. And these are the times it's time to set the oars over the side of the boat, to be able to relax our bodies and close our eyes and just feel how the breath is breathing you. And Beverly, when I've done this in groups with people here in Pagosa, and I get excited about this, especially for those people who are willing to keep practicing this, because more people have a challenging time doing this than they do if I give them some way to breathe. But that makes sense because we're all moving so quickly, right? And this goes back to like the sympathetic nervous system. We're go, 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 this, that, back and forth. And a lot of it, a lot of it is part of life. I mean, if you're raising kids, if you're building a business, if you're traveling a lot. So I'm not even saying it's bad to be busy. I'm just saying that there's tools that we can bring in to have a different experience with the busy, so that it doesn't take the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual toll on us, while we're in those seasons of life. And so this is, if you are listening to this and you've never done any type of breath work before, or whether you've done breath work before, but you've never really played with the concept of being aware of how the breath breathes you, that you're simply just observing, I really encourage you to take time to do this. A couple times a day, even if it's only for a couple of minutes. Absolutely. If you can do it longer, do that for sure. But even a couple of minutes, 2 to 3 times a day of doing this, because what I found as well is that it rewires how we do things, because we then begin to pay attention more, Beverly, of when our body does say, okay, time to relax. And then we also will feel more energized when life says, okay, pick up the oars, in the boat. It's time to start rowing. It's time to start creating. And so, because I have so many people say, well, in this school of thought, in spirituality and business, it's all about surrender. You just need to surrender. And then on this side, they say it's all about manifestation and creating, and and you could probably agree. We felt into both of them, the magic of both of them. I don't know about you, but I know I've been confused in the past of, well, am I trying to create too much, rendering too much, or and then that just gets my mind going on a hamster wheel. But I love to think that really we're creating and surrendering all at the same time. And it's not either or. And yes, it will always show you. And it will always be there to lead you and guide you into either one.
I really do love that. And it's so nice that you say that it's not one or the other. It's not, you can be surrendering when you're manifesting, and you can be manifesting when you're surrendering. It's kind of like this whole,
Yes.
it's words kind of don't really always give it the vibrational, whatever it is, Yet, when you speak about the breathing, it's like an in-out, so it's the creation and the manifestation. It's the surrender of the exhale, which can also be the manifestation of the inhale. It's that in-out flow. So instead of us trying to say, oh, I want to manifest, I need to do this, it's going, no, it's not a push or a pull. It's a mixture of both. It's like the waves of the ocean, right? So that's how the movement is. It's a movement. It's that kind of thing. So I love that you've got that analogy of, both sides of it. It's our mind always wants to give it a specific definition of, okay, I do this, I'm going to get this result, and then I'm right.
Yes. Yes. And most of the time when we do that, not all the time, but most of the time when we do that, if we checked in with our bodies, we're going to realize that we're in that state of fight or flight, that we're tense up, we're breathing more shallow. And that's how precisely what you said. It's like we can do, we can be surrendering while we're manifesting or manifesting while we're surrendering. And if we've really made the choice, and I really want to emphasize this part, we're all practicing. Beverly's practicing, I'm practicing, you're practicing. There is no finish line. There is no getting an A+ at this.
I'm the best breather in the world, people. You are the best breather in the world. You win the prize, best breather.
No. Trust me. This is, we have messy, complicated things that kind of us. And I feel it's important to point out that, and not to say, well, once you have right, you will live bliss every day. Will you blissful more on? Absolutely. And does you come into connection with your body when you have breath to be this link between the mind and the body. And it's like whatever happens out here, you have a different relationship with it. And so even a beautiful sunset, you are going to have I had organic experiences with beautiful suns by embodying and listening and praying. Doesn't, years ago when I listened and said, it was still really nice. But now when I intentionally do this, whoa, well, of course. And that's, excuse me. It's amazing. And so going, where you're at, where you're listening to this, whenever you're listening to this, know your breath will meet you right here. No matter what you're saying, what you're eating, who's judging you, how you're judging you. If you don't have much money, if you're going to have to do a relationship, and if your meal's going to come from your breath will meet you right here every single time. Feel that in your body, because the only two things that are always present, our minds go to the future and the past time. Your breath and your body are always, they're not doing something for a minute or for 10 weeks, back. Right here.
Oh, I love that, Wendy. And sometimes when I'm thinking about my breath, I think I look at it, or I feel that is like a connection with the God that I am. So it's kind of like when you can put attention and intention on the creation and the surrender of the breath that you are inhaling and exhaling. It's like the most intimate experience you'll ever have. It's even more intimate than eating. It's more intimate than any relationship you'll have with a partner. It's more intimate than any relationship with money or with any thought forms. It is so deeply intimate. It's like the breath of life. It's like, that is my kind of, if I'm thinking about a God, that would be like my, if you could even have a definition, it's a tangible way to kind of experience what God is, because there's no judgment with air. There's no judgment with the breath. It doesn't matter if you breathe it fast or slow. It's going to be there always. And even when we believe we're breathing our last breath, what if that doesn't even exist? What if that's just our into the next beautiful experience of being an infinite being, you know?
Yes. Oh, I absolutely believe that. I mean, I was very honored, and still I'll always feel grateful to be there when my mother took her last breath about 1.5 years ago. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I know a lot of us have, you know, been able to have this experience. And of course, was it heart-wrenching as well? Sure, that human part of me. And yet, Beverly, I will never forget the moment that she took that last breath, and she had this one tear that came down, and it was like she smiled. And I knew that it was that the death here, the breath was guiding her out of this world into something brand new. And even that, like that even made me, and even talking about it right now, it's like I'm feeling that again. It makes me even more excited, passionate about continuing to be a student of the breath, both for myself and to be able to, you know, guide and help other people, because it's beyond what our mind can understand. It's something I tell my clients all the time. This isn't a cerebral process, you know. This is a feeling piece, and the more that we do it, the breath becomes that link between the mind and the body, so that we're not feeling like we have to get rid of our mind either. Because I know that there's a lot of teachings out there about, let's, you know, the mind this, the ego this, you know, let's shut this down. And I'm like, well, okay, I understand what they're going for, but I'd like to meet one person who's ever told me that they could 100% accomplish that. So the way I look at it is, well, if it's always going to be there, let's like get to be friends with it, and let's learn to find ways to work with it, and so that it'll work for us as well. And the breath does that. And a beautiful example, just to, you know, and this could be with anything, okay? But let's say we think about some, you know, we've all had the